The Greg Biffle Citation 2 airplane crash. Heartbreaking. 7 people lost the airplane. Families devastated at Christmas. Terrible situation. Now, what happened? We don't know, and we probably will never know what really happened. But this we do know. I got a type rating in that airplane. I taught in the simulator. We think they lost the engine after takeoff. What is the procedure in a Citation 2 after you lose an engine at takeoff? Okay? Gear up, fly to 400 foot. Then you fly the emergency en route speed up to a safe altitude, put the autopilot on, and run the checklist. Shut the engine down, calm down, contact ATC. What's the closest airport with an instrument approach? That plane will fly on one engine. We don't know, maybe it was both engines. Maybe one engine went out and the other engine was 50%. We don't know why he stayed low under the clouds in marginal weather, try to make it back to the airport. We don't. It might have been a control issue. We don't know, and we may not ever know. But if you lose an engine in that airplane, it will still climb. It's not gonna climb fast, but it'll do 800,000, 1,200 foot a minute, depending upon the weight and the amount of fuel and the amount of people and the temperature and the winds. I mean, it'll still climb. If you lose the engine on takeoff, it's not a non-event, but if you do what you were trained, climb the 400 foot, flaps up, gear should already be up, then you're gonna climb to emergency en route speed, which is probably 145 in that plane, climb up to 3,000 or 5,000 foot, whatever's a safe altitude. Put the autopilot on, run the checklist, shut the engine down, then get on the radio, declare an emergency. You got enough, that engine will fly all day long on one engine. That plane will fly all day long on one engine. It's not gonna fly fast, but I think Charleston was 32 miles away. Long runway, emergency equipment, numerous instrument approaches, fly there. Do the single engine instrument approach procedure. Now, on that airplane there, single engine approach, you gotta be stabilized, and you cannot move that flap lever to land until you know you got that runway. Because if you do, and you're slow, you will stall that airplane. And number 2, you have to calculate the approach speed on that airplane based on your weight, fuel, people in the plane, temperature, winds. You got to calculate that. And you cannot let the plane get below that speed. You would be better to leave the flaps up and the gear up until you get close to that runway and put them down at the last minute if you're that heavy, single engine. But if you climb up and fly 30 minutes and burn some fuel off, excuse me, then that's gonna help lower the landing weight of that airplane. Now, when you go to flight safety to get certified in that airplane, you have to do a single engine instrument approach. You got to do it stabilized, and this is what's going to happen. And they're not going to tell you. You're going to come down, single engine approach. You cannot move that flap lever. You cannot move it. And let's see if I can get it on here. If you see it right here, you cannot move it from takeoff and approach to land until you know you have that run. This is the cockpit. Until you know that you have that runway and you can make it. Because at flight safety, you got to do a single engine approach. ILS. Low fog, low visibility, and the instructor's not going to tell you. You're going to have to catch it every single time on that check ride. It's going to be at Memphis Airport. There's going to be a 757 FedEx pull in front of you on the runway. You can barely see it, it's in the fog, but you can see it, and you got to be looking for that. So you have to do a go around, single engine. You can't pull that yoke up and try to go 3,500 foot a minute, because it ain't gonna do it. And the first thing you have to do, full power, and you have to move that flap lever from land to approach, or it's not gonna do it. Excuse me. So if he lost the engine and he tried to make it back to the runway below the clouds at 1,000 foot, one moment he was 700 foot. And you get on final and you got the gear down and you put that flap down to approach, and then you put it down to land, and you're already slow and heavy on one engine, and you get below the calculated speed for the temperature, weight of the aircraft, and winds, and you're gonna stall. You're not gonna make it to the runway. So, do what you were trained to do. V1 cut, gear up, fly the 400 foot, flaps up, V2 plus 10, emergency en route speed, fly the airplane. Don't worry about anything, nothing. Don't even talk on that freaking radio. Get that plane safely to a safe altitude, 3,000, 5,000 foot. It'll do it 1,200 foot a minute. It might take it a minute to get there. Level off, autopilot on, run the checklist. Shut down the engine, get on the radio, declare an emergency, watch the nearest airport that's VFR or that has an instrument approach with a long runway with emergency equipment. Fly there, do the approach. Now, can't put them flaps down to land until you know you got the runway. But you can get to 3,000, 5,000 foot, put the autopilot on, calm down, run the checklist. You can fly that plane an hour on single engine. I wouldn't do it because the other engine might go out. I would go to the nearest airport as soon as possible with an instrument approach, with a long runway, with a fire truck and an ambulance and a tower, and land there. That's a 1981 airplane. That's a 45-year-old airplane. And you can take a 1981 Citation 2 and put new engines on it, and you can redo the avionics, and you can make it better. It ain't gonna be as good as the CJ4, but for a fraction of the cost, you can make that airplane a great airplane. I don't know if it was an original, or I don't know if it had new engines in a new glass cockpit. I mean, I don't know, but it's better to stay out of those 45-year-old airplanes. Just stay out of them. There's too many newer airplanes. But that's the procedure if you lose the engine on takeoff. Do the checklist. Climb. Remember, on final, single engine, you cannot move that flap to land until you know you got the runway. And if you have to do a single engine go around, you have to bring that flap from land back up to approach and takeoff. And then you've got to climb the appropriate speed, which is not going to be fast, but that plane will do it. Speculation, it's only speculation. But in an airplane, it's checklist, checklist, checklist. Even in a 172, I use a checklist, That's my thoughts on the Greg Biffle airplane crash. Terrible situation. Thanks.